Hi everyone, Roast here, and today I wanted to make a short video, probably a rambling one though, like my other ones, and it's going to be about my very first hardcore runs in Path of Exile. I did them maybe a couple of weeks ago, so I wanted to make this video as close as possible to having completed them. So I'm about 1700 hours into the game, still consider myself much of a noob, and yeah, in terms of hours in that game, you know, I haven't done a lot of end game content. There's so much content that I've never done. So from that point of view, I'm a noob, and I've just stayed away from hardcore because I thought, oh, it's way too difficult and I'm a slow player, so to kind of regain that progress again would take such a long time. You know, I thought, man, that's not for me. So a year, I guess I've been playing for roughly a year or so with those 1700 hours somehow being clocked up within that year or so. Why did I now, having never ventured into hardcore, suddenly decide, I'm going to try hardcore? And this is, I guess, aimed at other people like myself who've played, I've played, I'd say 90% solo self-found, and I didn't play trade because I stream, and initially I did play trade, and some of the viewers or people who could come and trade with me ended up just popping in and giving me stuff, giving me, you know, end game gear and currency, and it was really nice to receive that, and I found it quite hard to turn down, so I ended up having this end game gear, but without kind of gradually learning to make those progression steps myself. So SSF was then ideal because that allowed me to progress more steadily and also learn the game, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn, well, why is this item good and this item not good, and you know, how does this skill synergize with this item or this group of items? Why do I use this support gem instead of this one? And just experimenting, and it felt a lot more contained within solo self-found, and I could stream and not have people give me gifts. So that's been my kind of main way of playing, and every now and then I kind of see people playing hardcore and think, oof, that seems really rough, and I've never really considered it something for me. I've enjoyed watching other people play hardcore and you know, been admiring of their ability to stay alive through the campaign and through into maps, and even much later where I'd never even been to with either solo self-found or trade leagues. So what was it? What was it that made me decide, okay, now is the time, I'm going to try hardcore? So I said I've never tried hardcore, but I did dip into it last year. There's a streamer called Mr. 9 Lives. He usually has a tiger face, or usually always has a tiger face as his avatar, his face cam. And he created a private league, which he called the Struggle Bus League. And he was inviting people to join, even, you know, very new people. And at that time, I think I'd been playing for maybe a couple of months, and I thought, oh, and it was solo self-found, hardcore, ruthless, plus monsters could do an extra 20% damage. you did 20% less damage, or you had 20% less health, something like that. So not lots and lots of more extra modifiers like in Gauntlet, but still challenging. So hence struggle bus league. And there were other people who were, hadn't played Ruthless, hadn't played Hardcore, saying, all right, I'll give it a try. I think it had some prizes too, but I wasn't interested in the prizes. It was more just, ooh, could I try this? Is it? And I did, and I was just sort of shaking, trembling, and didn't want my character to die. Most people were creating mules to gather resources and then deleting the characters, so I kind of followed suit. They were farming hillock on the beach, and I think I got a character up to level 5. That was it. And I was so frightened of dying and losing everything, because the mules would gather the gear and then give it to the main character, and then you delete the mules, otherwise you wouldn't have, because the limit is 24 characters. So I was, creating a new character, gathering whatever armor, weapons, currency, and then giving it to the main character, who then would use that gear. But if that character died, all that gear, items, everything would just be gone from that league. I think they ended up in the Void League. So I played a little bit, and then I was so scared of losing it all and losing my progress that I gave up. So that was my very, very kind of tentative dip into hardcore. And then, never went near it again. And then this year, like not so long ago, there was Zizaran's Gauntlet with, it wasn't Ruthless, but it was Hardcore SSF, and different modifiers for each part of the campaign. Hillock on the beach had Maven there, and he could do Leap Slam, and your resistances were like minus 20 or 30 right from the get-go. And I thought, again, lots of people in the community saying, yeah, gotta try it, let's see how far I can get, and big prizes as well. But there was a prize for killing Hillock, like just to get people to try it, and it was a pair of it was called the Gauntlet, so it was a pair of gloves. And I thought, okay, if I can get past Hillock, that will be, I can just tick off the fact that I've done it, and I think it was just a way to get people involved. So I picked a ranger. I did, I think, caustic arrow, but on the beach you use whatever skill, and I managed to actually get past Hillock, and I thought, oh, okay, now what? Am I done? I wasn't expecting to beat Hillock on the beach, especially with Maven and Leap Slam and all the other modifiers that were added to it. So I thought, what the hell, my character's still alive. I don't plan on making mules and, really trying to make a lot of progress. I'll just go as far as I can with this one. And surprisingly, I didn't make any mules, but that character, that ranger with caustic, I think I used something else like ice shot, but then I went back and got caustic arrow, because I thought, well, if I'm doing a damage over time, I can shoot them and then move away, so they can't, do me any damage. That was my kind of rationale for choosing ranger, even though ranger's kind of squishy. I could keep a little bit of distance, and then the damage over time would sort of finish them off. But I kept kind of making more progress than I thought I would. Eventually, I got to Brutus. Usually people would pick up Puncture to kill Brutus, but there was Cole, who appears in another part of the map. I think one of the Lunaris Temple, or anyway, Cole was there, and I thought, oh, they've put Cole instead of Brutus, and I managed to kill him and thought, oh, all right, that's it then. We've done with the prison. And so then I ended up like in this whole new arena with like these balls going across. I thought, oh God, this is probably it. But I had a go and got him down to like, I don't know, 5% HP. My flasks were finished. And yeah, I couldn't heal. The next hit I took then killed me. But people who are experienced hardcore players said, oh, you could have dropped a portal there, gone back to town, recharged your flasks, and then carried on with the fight. So, you know, it didn't even occur to me, because either I've watched hardcore players and haven't really registered that, or just like, you know, oh, this is it. So that was that, and I chose not to do another run and thought, okay, I've tried the gauntlet. I got much, much further than I thought I would. I definitely beat Hillock on the beach, and then kind of left it at that. But it kind of roused my curiosity and made me think, I did actually quite enjoy that, and the fear of dying or the fear of losing the progress, it wasn't as apparent as it was when I tried hardcore the previous year. Because I've made so many characters since then, and, you know, the end of the league, just forget about them or delete them. It's like the fun that I had playing the character was enough. Like, I didn't need to keep the character. So that's the first thing I noticed, that fear of losing, essentially what I gained, was gone, because what I gained was the fun of playing the character, and that was stronger than the fear of losing what I'd gained, kind of thing. So I was very much noticing that. And then this league, the Mercenaries League, I've been playing trade for the first time in a long, long time, since last summer. And the reason for that is because I created a guild, and I wouldn't be able to interact with the guild unless I'm playing trade. And that was a lot of fun. You know, there was a handful of people who were in my chat regularly that decided to join the guild, and we could share items with each other. So that was a fun way to start the league, and I got some items that really helped my first league start build. I did a bleed juggernaut, which I practiced the previous league, and there weren't many buffs or nerfs. It was kind of much the same as the previous league, so I thought, well, I'm enjoying this character, let me do this. And I carried on with that for, I don't know, the first month or so of the league, and then I did an RF. I think I did a totem build. Again, one of the guild members suggested it and also gave me some bits and pieces that would help. And gave me a POB as well. And then I decided to play SSF. I was really missing SSF. I was enjoying the guild, I was enjoying trading, but there's something about the RNG aspect of SSF and, you know, gathering everything by yourself, and sometimes feeling a bit stuck and not knowing if you can progress the character, and then, you know, hitting that wall and then gradually getting through or past that wall and not being kind of very overpowered as you might do in a trade league or that quickly. You know, it really slows you down. I play slow anyway, so it suited me. But I was missing it, so I thought, okay, SSF. And so once again, Bone Shatter and Bleed. But this time, actually no, not Bleed. I decided to go Impale because I saw a build that was playing Duelist to Ascending into Champion, but playing Bone Shatter of Complex Trauma. So I thought, okay, I'll try this, but in SSF, similar skill, slightly different build, different character, different ascendancy. Let's see how this goes. And as I went through campaign, I noticed I wasn't dying. And that character, although I've kind of put it to one side, is deathless up to, I think it's just before, like, Act 10 Kitava. So using Sunder in the campaign. And hasn't died. And I thought, well, this is kind of different for me. I'm not a hardcore player. I don't have powerful builds, or I don't really care whether my character is managing to stay alive. So something has changed. I thought, you know, if I am managing to get through the campaign deathless, then this is something new. Maybe because of this, getting through campaign deathless, or almost, and that shift from the fear of losing to embracing just the enjoyment of making progress and not really caring whether I lose the character or not, made me a bit more curious. So the kind of motivating factor then was curiosity. It wasn't kind of peer pressure, like, come on, you should play hardcore now, because I've never kind of gone with that. Or you should play faster, all of that. If there has been any kind of backseating like that, I've just not gone with it. You know, you still feel it because people are sort of saying, oh, you're, you know, weak because you're not doing that. And then it kind of stings you for a little while, and then you're kind of like, no, I'll play the game the way I want to play it. But now, okay, I tried a bit of Gauntlet. I really enjoyed it. Oh, I tried SSF, or I'm playing SSF, and my character's deathless. Maybe. So that was it, really. Just wanting to give it a go. And so I did 4 runs. So that same character again, because I thought, well, this one worked. I'll do this one again in SSF Hardcore. And because in the Gauntlet I used a Ranger, Caustic Arrow, I thought, all right, that'll be my hardcore SSF league start, as it were. Not as it were, it was the league start because it was absolutely fresh, no currency, nothing. And that very first one was my best run. And I got to a little way into Act 7 on my first Ranger. So it was Caustic Arrow to to Toxic Rain. And I even bought some MTX just to kind of get me in the mood for it. And surprisingly, I didn't feel any of that, oh my god, I'm going to die, you know, every now and again, sure, but not like constantly on edge, like, what if I die, what if I die? It was just like, this is a lot of fun, and it's like, oh my god, I'm still alive. Like, when I beat Brine, or even Kitava Act 5, like, wait, did I just manage to get past that? And then I did 3 more. I can't remember the order in which I did them, but I did, you know, another champion, duelist champion. I think I got to, what's his name? Just before Act 5, Avarius to Innocence, Chamber of Innocence. And there were 2 blobs, so I basically killed him. And then just as he died, those 2 blobs came across and then finished me off. But that was going quite well. And then another ranger that got as far as Kitava, yeah, Act 5 Kitava, and just died to a slam. Basically because I wasn't moving around enough. And then a 4th one, which I can't remember, but yeah, maybe early-ish. But had a lot of fun with them. And after the final one, the 4th one died, I thought, okay, I've dipped my toes into hardcore. Had a lot of fun with it. Didn't mind the characters dying. And it reminded me, this is maybe why I was starting to feel this enjoyment versus lack or fear of loss, was that it reminded me of back in the day when I used to play arcade, like 80s. So yeah, I'm you know, in my mid-50s now, so when I started gaming in my teens, that was arcade machines at an arcade, and it was basically permadeath, and that is the way they made money. You put coins in the machine, and then you were alive, or your character, or your whatever it was in that particular game. Usually they were you got 3 chances, or 3 lives, and possibly you'd get a 4th if you got a certain number of points. They weren't all like that, but yeah, there was a chance to get an extra life. But there you see life, so already it was more kind of roguelite, permadeath way of playing, even though you didn't think of it like that. And you put your coin in, and maybe you'd last like 5 minutes, and then that's it, game over. Or sometimes it's like, oh, I managed to dodge that, or I managed to kill that boss there, I can continue. Or I got whatever 1500 points, and I managed to get an extra life and keep going. And playing permadeath or hardcore now somehow reminded me of that was how you played a game. You put your coin in, and then see how long you could stay alive. And that was the fun of it. And then, okay, you put in another coin, or you leave it for that day. If you kept like dying over and over very, very quickly, you might leave it and say, okay, not today. Or you do a few runs and then think, I wouldn't even call them runs back then, just a play. And if you did one like really good one, you could go home from the arcade thinking, that was nice. I actually beat my high score, or beat the high score that was there on the machine at the time, or beat, I don't know, the previous day. And then other times you'd go away like you just died really quickly, you spent a lot of money, and you think, oh, that was awful. and you didn't want to play anymore because you just felt like you'd wasted your money. But now you've got your PC, you can, you know, play as many times as you like. And so I remembered that. And now I think I will play hardcore again. You know, I played for a week, I did 4 runs, and for now, that's enough for me to dip my toes in. And from there, I've now gone on to playing Ruthless, and I might make another video about that and my experiences of playing Ruthless. But I do want to play hardcore again at some point, not right now, but at some point, and I did really enjoy it. So this is for people who are a bit like me, who like, ooh, hardcore, die, lose everything. How can people consider this to be fun? Well, I didn't imagine that it would be fun. I didn't imagine that I would get as far as I did, and I didn't imagine that I would be okay when the character dies. It's not like a big come down, like, oh no, it's all over. It didn't feel like that at all. It was more like, oh, okay, that's as far as I get for this run. Fair enough. But for the time I spent during the run, I had a really good time. And there's a special kind of enjoyment, like every time you clear a zone or a boss, like, you know, early on, even like beating Hail Rake, and then at the end of Act 1, say, beating Mervale, and thinking, hey, I did it, and actually being able to progress. So I'm not saying to people who've never played hardcore, okay, just jump in, give it a try. I'd say, maybe you might like it. Who knows? Anyway, I've rambled on enough, as I usually do, so I'm going to leave it there. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and catch me on Twitch.